triggered a storm. Here's what exactly happened.
Budget session kicks off to a fiery start. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his remarks ahead of the budget session, pointed at parliament disruptions in the past and accused the opposition of aligning with foreign agencies.
2014 से लेकर अब तक शायद पहला पार्लियामेंट का सत्र है कि जिसके एक दो दिन पहले कोई विदेशी चिंगारी नहीं प्रगटी है। विदेश में से आग लगाने की कोशिश रही हुई है। 10 साल से 14 से देख रहा हूं, हर सत्र के पहले शरारत करने के लिए लोग तैयार बैठते थे।
The opposition dismissed Prime Minister's charges.
हम बीजेपी माफी की मांग कर रहे हैं।
अरे जिस खाई में इन्होंने इस देश को डुबोया है, पहले उसके लिए माफी मांगे।
The showdown between the government and opposition escalated after Congress MP Sonia Gandhi's comment on President Droupadi Murmu's address to Parliament, suggesting the President got tired giving the long speech.
Boring. No comment.
No, the poor lady, the President was getting very tired by the end.
Repeating the same thing again
No,
and
she
again.
could hardly speak, poor thing.
The Rashtrapati Bhavan reacted saying the comments clearly hurt the dignity of the High Office. President's House said the remarks are unacceptable. Rashtrapati Bhavan added that the President was not tired at any point. While Prime Minister Modi called Sonia Gandhi's statement an insult to tribals, Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi denied the charge.
उन्होंने राष्ट्रपति जी को पुअर थिंग कहा, गरीब कहा और चीज कहा, थकी हुई कहा। एक आदिवासी बेटी का बोलना इनको बोरिंग लगता है।
My mother is a 78-year-old lady. She simply said that the president must have been tired reading such a long speech. Poor thing. I don't think she fully respects, in fact, she has the utmost respect for her. And I think it's very unfortunate that this kind of thing is twisted by the media. They are both respected people. They are older than us. They are a certain age now.
Many opposition leaders questioned why the president's speech did not mention the tragedy at the Kumbh Mela that left at least 30 dead earlier this week.
देखिए, प्रेसिडेंट स्पीच से ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है कुंभ में जो लोग अभी भी लापता हैं, लोग आशंका में हैं कि उनके परिवार के सदस्य कहाँ हैं। सरकार की जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि ऐसे लोगों की सूची जारी करे। सरकार और कितनी मदद करेगी पैसे की, और जो भारत सरकार और उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार ये कह रही कुंभ का कारोबार जो होगा 2 लाख करोड़ का होगा कारोबार। ये कारोबार करने के लिए महाकुंभ लगाए क्या?
राष्ट्रपति जी के अभिभाषण में देश की बात होनी चाहिए, पर यह केवल सरकारी पब्लिसिटी का एक निराशाजनक पुलिंदा बनकर रह गया। ये दुर्भाग्य की बात है। महाकुंभ का नाम तो लिया गया, पर महाकुंभ की त्रासदी की चर्चा नहीं हुई।
The Narendra Modi government has declared many big legislative decisions will be taken in the budget session. But if the first day of the meet is any indication, then we are set for a stormy session ahead. With Piyush Mishra and Mosmi Singh, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, so the big questions we are asking this evening: a fiery start to the budget session, Prime Minister's foreign hand jibe a diversion, Sonia remark an insult or empathy where it came down to the president of the country, and a face-off just sound and fury. All of that. Taking these questions to our panelists this evening: Ashutosh, author, political analyst; Pradeep Bhandari, national spokesperson BJP; Dr. Syed Nasir Hussain, MP and national spokesperson Congress. To begin with you, Pradeep, what is it that the Prime Minister meant that there is no foreign hand this time?
Well, it's an old saying that once is a happenstance, second is coincidence, and third is enemy action. If you recall and remember, Rahul Gandhi has made his intent clear that he wants to fight the Indian state. Now, fighting the Indian state is also supporting a narrative which weakens the Indian state. And I would like to tell your viewers about a pattern which we've been seeing in the last many years. 2018, before the winter session, you had the Rafale report. Ultimately, whatever the Congress party said, all of it could not stand the merit of truth in the Supreme Court of India, but the parliament session was disrupted. In 2020, before the budget session, you had the EU getting a motion against the CA that Indian Muslims will lose the citizenship. None of that was true, and this, in fact, citizenship is given. However, the parliament session was disrupted. In 2021, before the budget session, you had the entire international toolkit gang coming forward, but again, when it comes to the merit of truth, nothing happened. Before the monsoon session in 2021, you had the Pegasus report where the opposition claimed that the phones were snooped, but when it came down to the Supreme Court and the courts of land, nothing of it could be proven. Before the budget session in 2023, if you recall that Rahul Gandhi spoke that what is the United Kingdom doing with respect to the Indian democracy, then the Hindenburg report came, and today Hindenburg is shut. But all of this was taken as gospel truth by the Indian opposition. So even in the case of Canada, if you recall the statements of Justice Trudeau, all of it was taken by certain member of parliaments here as if they are elements of truth and their Bible. But even the Canadian government, not the government, in fact the Foreign Committee report said that all of those were mere allegations without substance of truth. So the charge of the Honorable Prime Minister is that there is a pattern where the Indian opposition picks up anything from foreign without verifying its substance and tries to disrupt the parliament, because policy making is in the interest of the country, disruption is not.
Dr. Syed Nasir Hussain is also with us. He's an MP, national spokesperson of the Congress. Dr. Hussain, a direct jibe at the Congress at the behest of an alleged toolkit, which, as per the BJP, the Congress uses right before the budget session. This time, it's not being used, as per the Prime Minister.
See, the Prime Minister is scared of the questions that are being asked to him. In the last 10 years, he had not answered any question that was posed to him in the Parliament or outside the Parliament. All the issues that were raised were all brushed aside, whether it is Pegasus, whether it is electoral bonds, whether it is Hindenburg report, whether it is the FIR against one company and its owner in US. There's so many issues came up, and all these issues, there were no inquiries, there were no joint parliamentary committees as demanded by the opposition, and only to say that they were coinciding with the parliament session and so on and so forth will not work. Because in India, we have in India every quarterly there will be a parliament session. So do you think that if something comes up between one session and the another session, the parliament members are not entitled to take up those issues, or they are not entitled to ask questions on those issues? It is only lowering the dignity of the parliamentarians and the parliament. They are meaning to say that the parliament members are acting on behalf of the foreign agency or on behalf of those people those are inimical to the interests of India. So this is only trying to defame, discredit and lowering the dignity of parliamentarians and parliament in India. The Prime Minister shouldn't have stooped to this level before the start of the budget session. He was just trying to provoke that these issues are not taken up. We have taken up these issues not because they are just somebody has raised this issue. We have taken up these issues because these are the real issues. Rafale, a country which benefited from the deal, is conducting an inquiry. A country which lost money in a deal is not conducting an inquiry. What happened in Pegasus? Everywhere the news was there, but they don't want to say. What happened in Chinese incursions that are taking place in the country? There were graphic reports, there were Google reports, there were satellite reports, everywhere was there. From somewhere something will come up and the people has to raise it. Now, the Prime Minister, Foreign Affairs Minister and the Defence Minister had told, not outside the Parliament, inside the Parliament, that they had said there's nothing has happened on the borders of India and China.
Okay.
But now, just after the last session, then the Foreign Affairs Minister says that we are disengaging. If there was no engagement, why are you disengaging? So these are the issues which need to be discussed threadbare in the nation, threadbare in the Parliament, and opposition and all the members of Parliament, irrespective of whether he is from Treasury benches or opposition, has a right to raise the issues. It is not the timing that is important. It is the content that is important. If the PM really has the guts and if he really wants to come clean on these issues, he should go ahead and say, let us inquire into it. Let doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani ho jaye.
All right, there have been, like I said, there are two incidents that happened today, and we're going to go into both these incidents. I want to bring in Ashutosh into this conversation. Ashutosh, from, a step back, every budget session, Ashutosh, that we have seen, at least in the last 4 to 5 years, and I'm just going through some research on that account, has been not just fiery, has been acrimonious and the most bitter. Are we now building up to that?
See, Preeti, I think we have become a kind of a society where any kind of criticism is taken as an enemy act. If the parliament is also behaving in that fashion, if our executive is behaving in that fashion, if the opposition is behaving in that fashion, that where we are heading. See, democracy means dialogue and discussion. Democracy means disruption also. That's what the two great leader of opposition has said in the past, before 2014. The issue is not that. The issue is that the total lack of trust between the opposition and the government. If that is the case, if opposition and the government cannot come to the same platform, that how we expect them to create a consensus in the country on a particular policy issues. So I think we are heading for a great democratic crisis in the country. We are already in a crisis in that sense, because the opposition is treating government as an enemy. Government is treating opposition as an enemy. And that's why there is no dialogue. There is no communication. A democracy without communication, without dialogue is no democracy at all.
There's a point there, and Pradeep, I want to bring you in, because I'll hark you back, because public memory is very, very short, viewers. Go back to the winter session. I would think in the history, parliamentary history, we have never had a worse session where you've had parliamentarians that nearly came down to blows. I think was the most shameful session. What we did see was a complete break in communication, a total trust deficit. So therefore, Pradeep, the question is, you're starting, hopefully everyone had thought that there would be a thaw, and the winter will thaw out the kind of bitterness we had seen between the opposition ranks as well as the treasury benches, which is the government. But to start the budget session with, and the Prime Minister, using words like this, this is not reconciliation. This is looking for another bitter battle.
Well, Preeti, first of all, just because the Congress party is in crisis, that does not mean the Indian democracy is in crisis. The Indian democracy is thriving. So I would like to absolutely disagree with my friend and senior journalist Ashutosh ji. Point number one. It is about intent and choices, Preeti, and I will illustrate with a simple example. Let's take the argument of Nasir ji forward. First of all, neither Hindenburg, neither Rafale, all of these are not issues on ground. We would have hoped that they would speak questions on unemployment, they would speak questions on price rise, where we have done much, much better than them. We provided more employment, we've ensured that inflation is less, but the Congress party does not raise issues of the common man. Let's take, for example, a case which Nasir bhai said. Nasir ji said that about the Hindenburg report. Well, there was a report of a short seller which profited, made money, tried to cause damage to the Indian stock market. Jairam Ramesh ji, Congress party, picked it up as if what they are saying is the matter of truth. Now, Hindenburg has closed. What was the verdict of the Supreme Court of India on Hindenburg? That none of the allegations proved to be correct. Did the Congress party self-introspect? Why did it do so? Was that only instance? Absolutely not. In the case of Rafale, he was speaking about, what did the Supreme Court say? The Supreme Court, in fact, in a re-inquiry also, after its December 14 verdict, found nothing. Now, you were speaking about disruptions. Recall the speech of the Honorable Prime Minister when he was speaking. What was Rahul Gandhi instructing his member of parliament? Ki jao, disrupt karo, samne khade ho jao, aur bolne mat wo. That is what their reality is. In ensuring that the parliament functions is in our interest, in the interest of the country, because we believe in policy making. However, the question needs to be asked that when Justice Trudeau, whatever allegations he made, even Canadian official committees did not believe in it, why was that certain member of parliaments jumped onto it as if those were substance of truth? Why are Indian institutions like the Supreme Court of India not believed, but foreign institutions are believed? It's a patent to it, and it's a legitimate question that the Honorable Prime Minister has raised.
Okay, I'm going to bring in, Dr. Syed Nasir Hussain as well. Dr. Hussain, once again, reminding you on what happened, and I think you would know best because you've been in Parliament, has been one of the most shameful parliamentary sessions that India has ever seen. No, it cut both ways, Pradeep. You might, but the fact is, there has to be... It cuts both ways.
Can
because
you tell us a video where the Prime Minister of the country or the leader of the House are cited?
1 second.
10 seconds.
No, I'll come back to you.
Okay,
Pradeep, I'll come back
to you.
But Dr. Hussain, there needs to be now some way forward, because like I said, every minute that is wasted in Parliament, it's lakhs of money of the taxpayers which has gone down the drain. The opposition will also need to, walk the talk. So will the treasury benches, so will the government. But something needs to be done. If you're starting off once again on a note this acrimonious, one can very well expect what's going to happen post the budget tomorrow.
Preeti, it is not me who is saying this. This has been said by n number of BJP leaders in the past, especially late Sushma Swaraj and late Arun Jaitley. They said that it is the duty, it is the responsibility of the government to see that the parliament functions. Point number one. Point number two. For the first time in the last session, I think very, very few times in the parliamentary history in India, we have seen the treasury benches shouting slogans, disrupting and not allowing the parliament to function. If you want, you can check up the records of BAC, Business Advisory Committee of both the houses in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. You can check up with what both our leaders in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha said and what we all said. We said that we want discussion. We want discussion. We don't want disruptions. We are not disrupting. Why are you disrupting? There were backroom negotiations. We met the chairman of Rajya Sabha, Speaker of Lok Sabha. We said that we want discussion. We gave it in writing that we want discussion on these issues. But the entire session was washed out because the treasury benches were shouting slogans, were disrupting, were not allowing us to speak, not allowing the leaders of opposition, leaders of different political parties to speak. And now, it is not the opposition who has started. We want a good session, we want a good budget session, we want to raise the issues of the people. I think one of my co-panelists was saying that Rafale doesn't resonate in the ground, and Pegasus doesn't resonate in the ground, and Adani doesn't. So that doesn't mean if it's not resonating in the ground, if people don't understand Pegasus, Rafale and Adani's issues, we shouldn't be raising this. If there is high-level corruption, when the country is being sold out to people, to some crony capitalists who are friends of Mr. Modi, so if you don't raise those issues, then what are we for there in the parliament?
All right.
If technical issues like Pegasus or not, it contains the freedom of speech.
Dr. Hussain, I think one thing we can safely...
Speak. You allowed others to speak, allow me to speak.
Sir, make your point.
Just let me finish, ma'am. Let me finish. So these issues need to be raised. We are raising that in the parliament. At the same time, who is raising unemployment issue in the parliament? Who is raising poverty issue in the parliament? Who is raising taxation issue in the parliament? Who is raising social security net issues in the parliament? These are the issues on which we have time and again asked discussions by quoting the relevant rules in both the houses.
Okay.
We asked for discussion. Nobody wants to discuss it. They want to bulldoze bills.
Okay, Dr. Hussain
pass the bills in the
and Pradeep in the studio with me. One thing we can really safely say right now, and sadly as unfortunate as it is, with how we saw the winter session unfold, nothing has quite changed. The winter hasn't thawed the acrimony between the government and the opposition. We are going to witness probably more. I just want to switch our debates right now because there were two instances
10 seconds if you allow me.
10 seconds.
Just because the Congress party is corrupt, that does not mean that everybody else is corrupt. What was the Supreme Court verdict in Rafale and Pegasus? If Nasir Bhai can tell my issue is exactly this. He raised certain issues. The Supreme Court absolutely said they were false. Still he's not able to believe the Indian courts, but he's still quoting a foreign agency.
Allow him now to answer, sir.
Yes,
10 seconds and I'll switch the debate. Dr. Hussain, you'd want to come and take that question by your co-panelist?
See, my whole point is the members in both the houses of the parliament, all the opposition parties wanted JPC to conduct inquiry in these issues. This was not acceded to, number one. Number two, these
Sir, what was the Supreme Court verdict?
Okay, 1 second, please allow. Okay.
Allow me to speak.
One by one.
I asked a specific question to
1
what
second.
was the
Okay,
Supreme
Dr.
Court
Hussain,
verdict
make
in
your
Rafale and
point.
Pegasus?
Allow Dr. Hussain to make his point. Sir, make your point. Go ahead.
See, and what did the Supreme Court say on in which context and what issue and who had filed it?
Come on.
We had not gone to the court. We said that we want to deal it in Parliament. We said that we want a
He's not
JPC
believing
there.
the courts is
Why
what he's
was-
You know
saying.
what I'm going to do
He
is
does not
I'm
believe
going
the Supreme Court
to
of
one
India.
second. I'm going to. It's not about.
No, why do you see?
Okay,
if
one
you
second.
don't
You can't
if
talk over each other,
doesn't
please.
want
This
to
is
allow
not
me
the
to
way I
speak,
conduct a
then I
debate.
can do the same
One
to
second.
him.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to now switch debates. We're going to go to the second part of our debate because, like I pointed out, there were two instances that took place today. And Ashutosh, I want to bring you in on that. There was a sense right now, and that is cutting in, suggesting that the language used by Ms. Sonia Gandhi, where she called or in a matter of figure of speech said poor thing to the speech made by the president, was an insult. The Congress says that this was empathy.
Preeti, are we serious?
It's become a political point, Ashutosh.
No. Not because some political party wants to give a spin to a kind of a language. Do you really think that this is an insult? This phrase is disgusting, is insulting, is intimidating? I don't think so. If that has become the level of our debate in this country, then only I'm really dreading today. So these are the phrases which are used on a daily basis. Today there are much serious things which has to be debated. And I agree with a few of the opposition leaders' stand that why we can't discuss Kumbh. So many people have died. What happened? Why the VIPs were in queue? And when the Aam Aadmi was dying. So these are the issues which we should be discussing today. Economic survey has hinted, accepted that Indian economy is in crisis.
Okay.
And the dream which we were shown that Indian economy will grow at the rate of 8%. Today, the economic survey accepts and admits that it can't go.
Okay.
It can't.
Ashutosh, there's a problem with your audio. We're going to try and fix it. Pradeep Bhandari, the fact is, what is it really? Because a lot of us were reading into it, and even the Raj Bhavan has now reacted. How is it an insult? Because it's seemingly, at least by the, and we're going to play that reaction out, is suggesting that it's empathy. That's what the Congress says, and it's a small issue. And the larger charges that you're trying to distract attention.
Well, Preeti, first of all, it's a very elitist argument to make from Ashutosh, thinking that the insult of a tribal president is small issue. Let me say it what is exactly.
No, I want to know why is it an insult?
Poor thing means bechara, garib vastu. Is the first tribal president of India bechara? And look at the history and the trajectory of the Congress party. On January 31st, 2025, which is today, Mr. Gandhi said it is boring. So what was he expecting the president of India to say, have an entertainment or a comedy show? Rahul is accustomed to it. That is point number one. Point number two, remember what happened on when Rahul Gandhi wanted to greet the first president of tribal president of India. Rahul Gandhi even did not greet her. That is point number two. So if speaking about the marginalized and the tribals is, non-issue, that exactly tells you the mindset of the Congress party. And Ashutosh, let's say another instance. On January 13th, 2022, beg your pardon, July 13, 2022, Ajay Rai called her representative of evil philosophy of India. Are you telling the president of India was called evil? Now she's called a poor thing, she's called boring, just because she's a self-made woman coming from the tribal community? This is what insults
Who called her boring?
Rahul Gandhi called the speech was boring? What do you mean? What was he expecting? An entertaining show?
No.
Can I intervene?
Please
One
translate
second.
what does
allow me to bring in Dr. Let's get an opinion from the Congress. Dr. Hussain, I'd like to bring in Dr. Hussain, Ashutosh, and I'll come back to you. Allow me to bring in Dr. Hussain into this. Dr. Hussain, the charge is maybe there was no intent that Sonia Gandhi meant to, what the BJP alleges, insult the president, but the charge is it's a constitutional post and one must honor and respect it.
Who has not honored so far? Who has not honored President Murmu? It is the BJP who has not honored President Murmu. BJP didn't invite President Murmu to invite the new parliament building. They didn't invite her to new Ram temple in Ayodhya. They didn't invite former Dalit President Mr. Kovind to lay the foundation for the new building of the parliament. And Mr. Amit Shah disrespects and insults Ambedkar in the house. And these are the people who are giving us lessons in whom to be respected and whom not to be respected. What did Mr. Sonia Gandhi say? She just said, poor thing, she felt tired. It was long. It was such a long speech. What is wrong in that? Well, poor thing ka matlab, Prime Minister of the country is saying, poor ka matlab garib. If you can't understand English, If you can't understand English, don't try to give a twist to it.
Shame.
गरीब thing. अरे poor thing का मतलब ये है, poor thing का मतलब इनको समझ में नहीं आता. And they are saying boring to entertainment. अरे if everyone knows why they were saying it is not the speech written by the President of India. It is speech written. It is speech sent to her by the cabinet, approved and sent to her by the cabinet, by the union government. So the swipe was not against the president, but against the union cabinet and the Modi.
All right, 10 seconds,
Modi
Ashutosh.
government.
I need to close the show.
So if
10
they
seconds.
don't understand that and if they want to make an issue out of it, we can only laugh at them.
All right, diverting attention is the charge by the Congress. Ashutosh, 10 seconds, sir. I need to close the bulletin. Go ahead.
Preeti, I'm glad that the BJP spokesperson think that I'm very elitist. All my life I did journalism in Hindi. My English is very poor. I know this, but I can understand that in the context the language was used is really something which we should be feel that what country we have become. We can't even understand a phrase which is so commonly used in our language. And if somebody is trying to give a spin to this, God only can save us.
Okay, Pradeep, the question is, I'll tell you, the question is that it's not that she's trying to insult, it's not that the BJP doesn't understand that she wasn't insulting. The charge is that you're trying to spin it politically, you're diverting attention on the number of deaths of Kumbh, you're trying to shroud questions that need to be raised on that.
Well, Preeti, the official statement of Rashtrapati Bhavan completely fact-checks Sonia Gandhi. Now, when the President of India feels insulted, do you not believe that it is the responsibility of Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi to apologize? But they will not do so because for 50 years they did not create the tribal ministry. They hate speaking about the marginalized. That is why they are laughing at it. And अगर अंग्रेजी किसी को नहीं आती, इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि उसका इंटेलिजेंस लेवल नीचे है, नासिर भाई. ये देश जो है गरीब जो है वो चलता है और गरीब प्रधानमंत्री आज है.
हमारे अंग्रेजी
अरे पहले समझो ना, इसका मतलब ट्विस्ट मत करो ना.
सच्चाई बोल रहे हैं आपने.
All right, okay, on that note, I think we've got a short glimpse on what the budget session is going to look like. It's a short glimpse into that. I would reckon way worse than what the winter session was. But we're going to go into a quick break. Stay with us. On the other side, we've got a special interview lined up. Renowned doctor Professor Kshitij Kapoor talks about myths around longevity and stigma around mental health in both India and the West. That's coming up next. Stay with us.